Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, aka Carol Baskin definitely killed their husband. Anyway, Sardine Oil. Coming at you right now with some sales data for Pokemon. We have a couple of ups and downs here. I'm very, very excited to go over it, very curious. Hi, Dashi. So we have a Blaine's Arcanine First Edition PSA 10. Was listed, I think, 2 days ago for $1,200 or best offer. If I had the funds, I would have taken it. But I did not, and it sold today. We don't know what the best offer was, whether... I hope he didn't let it go for less than 1,000. Who knows, but either way, pretty much 1,000 and above is what we'll expect. We have a Mr. Mime Jungle, First Edition PSA 9, Hollow, sell for $127. We had a Giovanni's Gyarados. All right, so there's this guy, these coin rare collectibles, whatever he is, he always holds the card like in his hand, and you just always... He almost always has record price points. So the last Giovanni's Gyarados First Edition PSA 9, the last one sold for like 121, 131, fair price. But this one sold for 204. Now, granted, the 10 is climbing. You know, the last two were both record highs, 400 and 405 for the 10. And I think 121 for the 9 is a fair price point for that. But 204 for the 9, either that's something that's going to come back down, which I think it will, or that's something that the 10 definitely has much, much, much more room to climb. I think the 10 will climb continuously until we get about maybe 450, maybe even 500. I don't know when that'll happen. That'll happen eventually. I don't know when. But with a rate of 204, that if that's the going rate, which I don't think it is, but if the 9 is selling for 204, that 10 should sell for minimum $600. But again, there's no 10s out there right now. There's only 2 other 9s. I don't know, there's only 1 other 9 right now. This one was the one that sold. Either way, 204, crazy, record price point. Erica's Clefable, First Edition PSA 9, that came to 127. We had a Lapras. This is one that was awkward. All right, so aside from Blaine's Arcanine, everyone I've mentioned so far was coin rare collectibles guy with the hand. This one, which the new price point, the last 2 sold for 202, this one sells for 151, and he's the one that usually gets the record price points. I don't know what went up with that. But then I'm going to skip here because we had another one that was not him, First Edition PSA 9, sold for 203. So that 151 is just an anomaly. The price point now is minimum 180, but definitely 203. 200 is the minimum I've seen the last 3 sales. So I had Dark Slowbro from him again. First Edition PSA 9 sold for $75. Had an Articuno First Edition PSA 9 sold for $199. You know, it's from the Fossil era. It's the hollow version. Giovanni's Gyarados. This was a raw copy. It's First Edition. It was raw. It looked flawless. Minimum 9, but this, I'd be like, all right, that's a 10. That's a 10. Sold for $101. I should have got it. I can never tell because, God forbid, let's say, that looks flawless, but then I get it, and then I look at it like, there's a dent, PSA is going to see that, then I'm going to be pissed at myself, and it's something where the seller at that point, they might not even know, because an inexperienced person is like, all right, it looks good, you know, but they're not going over with a fine-tooth and comb with a microscope, and they're like combing the desert and shit, and, you know, they're not going to do that, just like, okay, it looks good. Erica's Venusaur, another one, it was a raw copy, First Edition, and my grade... It would have been a 9. This is not as stellar as the Gyarados. The Giovanni's Gyarados looked relatively flawless. Maybe the tiniest bit of like a speck of something here and there, but for the most part, that should have been a 10. Erica's Venusaur, this one, a little bit of whitening, a little bit of edge wear. So I would have given it a 9. I think an 8 or an 8.5 would have been a little too harsh. Maybe. I don't know. Again, I would have given it a 9, but that sold for 207. So if the raw copy... it's selling for 207. The 9 itself should minimum be 200 as well, considering you have a minimum of $1,000 price point for the 10. Another raw one, Lieutenant Surge's Raichu, it's First Edition, 8.5 to a 9. That sold for 53. Again, that 9 might have been like, all right, it's a 9, maybe a week. Definitely would have been like one of the strongest 8s I would have ever seen. 8.5 would have been fair, so I said 8.5 to a 9. $53 it sold for. Rocket Zapdos, another First Edition raw copy. I would have given it an 8 to a 9 as well. Sold for $64. Rocket's Mewtwo, first edition raw. It would have been a very, very, very weak 9. So I gave it an 8. Sold for $130. And then we had a Dragonite first edition PSA 9. This one sold for $315. So like I said, gone are the days are $250, $265 first edition PSA 9 Dragonites, hollow from that fossil set. This is the third one that's sold over $300. So that's the baseline price point right now. Could you maybe get a deal somewhere on maybe like Mercari? People that don't follow this that closely, like, oh, is it $250? I'll sell it for $280. Make an extra $30 and maybe you can get it that way. But outside of that, I think minimum $300 is the going rate right now. We had a Gengar from Fossil as well, first edition PSA 9, hollow, selling for $212. Jumpluff, first edition PSA 9, sell for $51. We had an unlimited Charizard. It was raw. It was, I can't tell what this was. Oh, a scratched hollow. So, but it was unlimited. So Blaine's Charizard is unlimited. Normally I don't cover these, but this I thought was interesting because some very bad whitening, some very bad edge wear, little bit of a crease. I would have given this a 4. Still sold for $118. The raw unlimited version sold for $118. The only reason why someone might be like, I kind of want that is because maybe a binder collection because this is the corrected version. For those that don't know, actually, I'm going to bring you guys on a little field trip to see I'll show you guys because this is important. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. I have so many of these boxes filled with Pokemon cards. Oh, it's gonna take a second. All right, so hopefully these don't go flying everywhere. All right, so you guys see right there where there's a fighting energy on the top line. Okay, so every Blaine's Charizard first edition is going to have where it says Roaring Flames, discard all fighting energy cards. Obviously that's an error. But it's such a common error that every single first edition and most unlimited copies have that error. And the actual corrected version is the one that's most rare. And I'll leave that for right now. So the unlimited Charizard that we were looking at, that's the one that had the corrected version. So maybe that's why it sold for a little bit of a premium. I don't know, because again, all first edition and most unlimited copies, those do have the fighting. The one that doesn't have that fighting symbol has the normal fire symbol. So that's probably why. Moving on past that, we had Giovanni's Machamp, first edition PSA 9. It was listed at $95, and I should have taken my own advice with this. I'm saying that most WotC hollows that are first edition PSA 9, most of them are selling for $100 and above. And I should have listed my own advice and taken that because I saw this listing for $95 and it sold. And I am still befuddled and flabbergasted at the fact that I got 2 first edition PSA 10s for $120 each. I love it when shit like that happens. So we had T17, Typhlosion number 17, first edition PSA 8. It was listed at $1,500 or best offer. That sold. I think it sold for $1,200. So the 8 sold for what the 9 sold for like a week ago. We had a Lapras first edition PSA 10 at auction. While also with that, you're also getting an unweighed booster pack. It was a Lapras artwork as well, and I'm pretty sure it was unlimited version. And it was an Australian auction, it was Australian dollars. So after the conversion, altogether that sold for $2,400, $2,400 or $2,450, whatever it was. That's the upper end of the spectrum right now, because I think the highest we've seen is Lapras go for 2.4K, and that was by itself. But the unlimited unweighed pack, I don't know how much that is, maybe like $50, not sure. So recently, right before I made this video, I saw a couple more sales. So the guy, the coin guy, always holds it with a hand, had a Meganium first edition PSA 9, not number 10. Number 10 is the one that's harder to grade. It's more rare. I think it's more aesthetically pleasing. This is number 11 that he had on sale, which I don't think it had ever broken, the first edition PSA 9, I don't think it ever broke $200. This one sold for $286. The number 10, the one that's more rare and harder to grade, that one I think last sold for like $255. So I'd say this would be a new price point for the 10, but Record price point for the 11, but again, because it's him, I don't know what he does to his cards or his people, because every single one of his auctions, there are like 3 or 4 people up there that are bidding that, and they all have good feedback. They all have a lot of feedback. It's not these people that have 0 or 1 feedback that are gonna, shit the bed when push comes to shove and time to pay. Whatever. Crobat first edition PSA 9 sold for $127. I don't think it's worth that, but whatever. Brock's Hollow first edition PSA 9. This is interesting because it sold for $102, and I think it should be more because right now there's a Brock from Gym Heroes, Brock the trainer, but first edition Hollow PSA 10. It's on auction right now. I'm not sure if it's PWCC or another auction, but it's already at $1,100. So that will climb to probably $1,300, and again, 10 times is the upper limit of what it should sell for from the 9. And if there's 102, that it probably should be $130, $150, again, minimum. So I'm going to probably invest in those if I see a lot for like 80, 90, $100, buy them all. We have Erica, first edition PSA 9, sell for $107. And that is it. Those are some of my thoughts and processes. I will catch you guys later. Okay? Bye.